At the Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, President Biden shared his view on the January 6th hearings.
One of the things that's going to occupy my country tonight, I suspect, is the first open hearings on January the 6th. And as I said when it was occurring and subsequent, I think it was a clear, flagrant violation of the Constitution. I think these guys and women broke the law, tried to turn around the result of an election.
Let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli. He's traveling with the president in L.A. Mike, good morning to you. So how does the president plan to approach these hearings on Capitol Hill?
Well, Joe, it was so interesting yesterday because White House officials had indicated that the president might try to find some time to watch last night's hearings. Ultimately, we were watching his activities very closely during the hearing as it began. He was still here at the convention center, ultimately spent much of those next 2 hours traveling to and then attending a dinner he was hosting for the leaders attending this summit. He told reporters as he was giving a toast at the dinner that he actually didn't have time to watch the hearings. But you heard the president's remarks just then. It was interesting that he went out of his way to bring up the hearings that obviously were going to be capturing the nation's attention last night. Ultimately, some of the very difficult questions that these investigations will prompt will lead to questions for his administration about what they're going to do. It was an interesting split screen yesterday because the president was talking about the importance of shoring up democracies throughout the Western Hemisphere. And very clearly, our own democracy here has its issues here at home that will lead to challenges for the Biden administration moving forward.
Let's talk about why you're in L.A. The president has been meeting with leaders at the Summit of the Americas. He's pitching his new economic plan, but it's off to a rocky start. Some Latin American leaders, they're openly criticizing the U.S. for excluding leftist governments. Other leaders boycotted this summit altogether. So what can you tell us about the talks Biden is having and how are they being received?
Yeah, there were a number of tense moments here yesterday, Joe. First, we've talked a lot about the tension building up to the summit about who would be attending. Ultimately, there was a session yesterday where the leaders of both Belize and Argentina, with Biden in attendance, were very critical of the fact that he did not invite certain countries, Cuba and Venezuela specifically, to attend this summit. Though President Biden did listen, did then speak afterwards. He said, just notwithstanding some of the disagreements at the summit, he did think there were broadly a lot of agreement, especially about issues like the economy. Listen here to the president pitching his economic vision.
When we combine the ability of government to direct economic activity towards specific challenges to help mitigate risk, guard against unfair practices, and create predictable demand, with the agility of the private sector, I believe we can deliver real improvement for people's lives.
Now, another tense moment yesterday was one of the one-on-one meetings President Biden had here with other leaders, with President Bolsonaro of Brazil. Biden had to listen very patiently as Bolsonaro did something of a filibuster. Obviously, tensions about Brazil and some of the backsliding in their democracy. The leader of Brazil has even questioned Biden's own election. He was a close friend during his time in office with President Trump. A much different scene when Biden met with Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau, a much warmer session, and ultimately he accepted an invitation to travel to Canada.
And Mike, quickly, what's on the agenda today?
Well, Joe, it's almost as interesting what's happening outside of the summit for the president as what he's doing here. There will be an announcement about migration, but the president also is going to be doing an event at the economy, traveling to the Port of Los Angeles to talk about efforts to combat inflation, a big midterm issue, as we know, and then he's going to be later tonight doing a pair of fundraisers, trying to help his party raise money to get that message out in the fall.
Mike Memoli with the president in California. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.